Don't forget to like and subscribe to Jolie Knots Crochet. Share with your friends. Hit that little notification bell so you can get notified when new patterns release. All our videos are available in left and right-handed tutorials.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Jolie Knots Crochet. I'm Crystal. We're going to be making this Flowers in the Sky toque hat. Now toque just means that it's embossed. I have mine in 3 colors here. For these purple ones, I used Red Heart Ombre Super Saver. I used about 3.5 ounces for each hat, and this is what I've got left over of this skein here. And they are pretty large skeins. They are 10 ounces. All right, so I probably could have fit in another one out of that. For this blush one here, I used the Lamia Wool Easy, about 3 ounces of this skein. That's how much it weighed. I don't have the color, it's just a number, L207 is the color, but it's a pretty nice blush color, and this is what I have left of my 3.5 ounce skein. Okay, we are going to be using a 5.5 millimeter hook for this project. You'll need a tapestry needle, 1 stitch marker, or more if it's easier for you, and also some scissors. All right, everybody go ahead and grab your materials and let's get started. All right, so to begin, I'm going to make a magic ring. You can chain 4 and slip stitch if you don't like the magic ring, no problem. Chain 1, and now we are going to put 10 double crochets into your ring. Okay, so I have got my 10 double crochets. I'm going to cinch up my ring. Now what you need to do with the magic ring is to make sure that you go around and around and around and you tie a really good knot. Your magic ring will not come out. Your tail is long enough. Some people snip right there at the end, and that's what causes it to go out because it's not actually woven in. Okay, so now we are going to find our first double crochet and we're going to slip stitch into that. Now we're going to chain 1 and you're going to put a single crochet into the same stitch that you just joined in. In the next stitch, we're going to do a series, 3 double crochets, picot, and 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now your picot is 1, 2, 3 chains, and I slip stitch to the front 2 loops of the double crochet just worked. And now I'm going to put 3 more double crochets right into that same stitch. And now you're going to repeat single crochet into the next stitch, and then 3 double crochets, picot, and 3 double crochets. You should have 5 petals at the end of your round, and you will slip stitch to your first single crochet. Okay, here's what the end of your second round should look like. For round 3, we're going to skip all our double crochets. We're only working in the single crochets and our picots from the second round. So the way we're going to start this is we're going to chain 5. That's going to count as our first treble crochet and our chain 1 space. Now what we're going to do is wrap our hook twice, and we're going to put a treble crochet right into that same single crochet. Chain 1, treble crochet into the single crochet, chain 1, treble crochet, chain 1, and our last treble crochet. We should have 5 treble crochets separated by chain 1 space So remember, our 4 chains is counting as 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all separated by chain 1 spaces. Now what we're going to do, chain 1, single crochet into the middle of your picot. Chain 1, and now we are going to skip all of our double crochets, go back to our single crochet, and treble. So this is what we're repeating. Treble, chain 1, treble, chain 1. 5 times. Your single crochet into the picot should be separated by a chain 1 on each side. 5 treble crochets separated by a picot. So you're going to do this 4 more times, and then we'll slip stitch to the top of the 4th chain. Go ahead and finish that, and I will meet you right back here. Here we are at the end of round 3. We are going to slip stitch into the top, into the 4th chain of our first chain 5. And now you're going to chain 1. We're going to put a front post double crochet, and then another front post double crochet around the same stitch. Now around every single treble stitch, we're going to put 2 front post double crochets. That's it. We're skipping our single crochets, we're skipping all of our chains, and we're only working 2 front post double crochets around each treble. You should have 50 front post double crochets at the end of your round, 10 per repeat. Go ahead and finish that out, and I will meet you back for round 5. And we're going to slip stitch to our front post double crochet. Now you'll chain 1, and we'll put 1 front post double crochet around every front post double crochet, just 1. So we should still end up with 10 over our treble crochets. So we're just growing it a little bit longer. We're not increasing here. Once you've completed your 10 front post double crochets, we are now going to do a front post double crochet around our single crochet here from round 3. So we're going to go underneath the single crochet and put a front post double. And that's what you're going to repeat. 10 front post double crochets, front post double crochet around the single crochet from round 2. All the way around, your stitch count should be 55 front post double crochets. I will meet you back for round 6. Okay, here we are at the end of round 5. Now what's happening here is your gauge should be approximately 5.5 inches in diameter. Mine is just a little bit, well, maybe about 5. I can stretch it to 6, but if it's just sitting there, you're going to be about 5.5 inches in diameter, okay? As long as you've got that plus or minus a quarter-ish, then you should be good. Okay, getting started on round 6, we're going to chain 1, and we are going to place 10 front post double crochets, 1 around each front post double crochet. Okay, now that I've got my 10 front post double crochets, I'm going to place 2 double crochets into this next front post double crochet that is around the single crochet. Now your repeat, that's your repeat. 10 front post double crochets, 2 double crochets. 10 front post double crochets, 2 double crochets. Repeat that all the way around. You should have 50 front post double crochets and 10 double crochets all the way around, or 10 front post double crochets and 2 per repeat. Finish that out. I'll meet you back here for round 7. All right, here we are at the beginning of round 7. We are going to chain 1, which I've done already. And now into this same stitch we slip stitched into, which is a front post double crochet, we're going to put 1 double crochet. Now over the same front post double crochet we just worked and the second front post double crochet, we're going to front post double crochet 2 together. That's not finishing your first one, yarning over, going back to your second one. When you have 3 loops on your hook, you will yarn over and go through all of your loops. Now we're going to place 6 front post double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You should have 2 front post double crochets left. This is becoming a leaf now. Now we're giving it a shape for a leaf. So you should have 2 front post double crochets left. And then we'll do another front post double crochet 2 together. Now we'll place a double crochet into the last front post double crochet. So it's a little bit hidden back there, but we're not really wanting to decrease. We are just giving it that illusion. Now we'll place 2 double crochets into each of the next 2 stitches. And now you're going to repeat. So this is your repeat. The first part of your repeat will be that double crochet, and then the 2 front post double crochets together. Your stitch count at the end of this round should be 30 front post double crochets all the way around and 10 front post double crochet 2 together. So you should have 1 at the beginning and 1 at the end of each of your petals. In between those, your total will be 30 double crochets. All right, go ahead and finish that round and I'll meet you back to begin round 8. All right, now we've slip stitched to join and we're beginning round 8. So we'll chain 1 and we will put 1 half double crochet and then 2 half double crochets. Now from there, we will do our front post double crochets 2 together. So our first one is going to be around the front post double crochet 2 together, and then our next one will be a singular one. And now we're going to put 4 front post double crochets, 3 and 4, and now we'll do another front post 2 double crochets together. Now we're working with half double crochets in this round, remember. So behind our front post 2 double crochets together, that's where your first half double crochet is going to go. Now we're going to put 7 more half double crochets. 3, 4, 5, 6, and then your 7th one, or your 8th one total, will fall right above that 2 half double crochet together. So that's your repeat. This is your repeat. We'll start our repeat after our 2 half double crochets. So you should have 1 front post double crochet 2 together, 4 front post double crochets, another front post double crochet 2 together, and then separating that you'll have 8 half double crochets. And here and throughout, to remember, your first and your last half double crochet will fall into the previous row's front post double crochet 2 together. All right, repeat that 4 more times, omitting the last 2 half double crochets in your last repeat. And I will meet you back for round 9. Your count per repeat here should be 2 front post double crochet 2 togethers, 4 front post double crochets, 8 half double crochets. All right, here we are at the beginning of round 9. We are going to chain 1, and now we're going to place 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to essentially copycat the row before, but decreasing again 2 front post double crochets over the first and the last ones. So front post double crochet 2 together, and now you'll have 2 front post double crochets standing alone. And with the last one, you'll do another front post double crochet 2 together. In between your petals, we're going to have 10 half double crochets. So our first one, again, as a reminder, is going to be hidden behind the first stitch. Your second one is there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and your 10th one. And your 10th one should fall right before your last petal, or right on top of the first front post double crochet. So that's your repeat. You're going to work your petal, front post 2 together, then 2 standing alone, front post 2 together, and then 10 half double crochets. You're going to repeat that 4 more times, omitting the last 3 half double crochet. All right, getting started on round 10. You're going to chain 1, and we are going to do 4 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your 4th one should fall into the top of your front post double crochet 2 together. Now we're going to put 2 front post double crochet 2 togethers. So the first one and the second one. All right. Now you're going to do 7 half double crochets, making sure that your first one is still falling behind that stitch. 1. Your next one is a bit hidden here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now we're going to start our first spike. Let me show you where the spikes are going to go. Our first spike is going to be 1 row down, 2 stitches behind, and into the space between the second and third stitch is where we're going to put our first spike. So you should only have 3 half double crochets on the outside of that. Our next one is going to go into the space directly below that, which is right here. You should have 2 half double crochets on that side. Our third one is going to go in between our double crochet increases from round 7, and then we're going to move up 1 space and over 1 space. Our last leg is going to be into the space directly above that. So for each of these you should only have 2 half double crochets left into these rows. So let's do that. Okay, so let's do this. Yarn over, moving along to this side where there are 3 half double crochets, and in between, pull up a loop. Yarn over the space directly underneath that, which is a diagonal because your half double crochet is slant. Pull up a loop. Yarn over in between your 2 double crochet increases, pull up a loop, up and over 1, pull up a loop, and then up, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all of your loops and chain to secure, which will not count as a stitch. So your spikes should look like this. Now we're going to put 2 half double crochets into the same stitch that the last spike was worked. 1, 2, and then 2 more half double crochets over the next 2 stitches, and that's your repeat. Your repeat is front post double crochet 2 together twice, 7 half double crochets, your round 10 spike cluster stitch, and 4 half double crochets on this side. You're going to repeat that around 4 more times, omitting your last 4 half doubles at the end, and you'll be ending with your spike stitch over here. Okay, here we are. We've just completed round 10. Now for round 11, we're going to chain 1, and we are going to place 5 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to front post double crochet 2 together. That's the first part of your repeat, front post double crochet 2 together. And now for this round, we're not working into that last front post. Our first stitch is going to be this one right here. Okay, so we're not working into that anymore. So we're going to put 13 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Remember, your chain 1 does not count as a stitch. 9, 10, 11, 12, and your 13th one should fall right on top of your first front post double crochet 2 together. And then you're going to do your repeat. Front post double crochet 2 together, 13 half double crochets. Repeat that 4 more times, and I'll meet you back at the beginning. Okay, here we are starting round 12. We're going to chain 1 and place 2 half double crochets. Now we're starting out with our first spike stitch right here. Let me show you where these legs are going to go. Our first leg is going to go above the cluster from our previous spike stitch. The next one is going to go right next to it. The one after that, your third one, is going to fall into the same space, and then we're going to move up 1, over 1, and our last spike will be directly above that. So here we go. First one directly above our cluster, pull up a loop. Second one directly to the side of our cluster, pull up a loop. Third one in the same space the last spike was worked in, pull up a loop. Up 1 space and then over 1 space, pull up a loop. And then right above it and pull up a loop. You should still have 11 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all, chain 1 to secure. Now we'll have 1 half double crochet into the same space your last spike was worked, and then 1 more half double crochet. Now here we are, we're going to begin your repeat. So to notate, this first half double crochet after our double crochet 2 together will be skipped. Now, if you are working an extra large adult size, you will not skip that stitch and you will put in a half double crochet. Okay? So, the first part of our repeat is a front post double crochet. Skipping that stitch, unless you're working an extra large, working into the next stitch, we're going to put 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to work our next spike stitch. Alright, so the spike stitch here, let me show you where our legs are going to be. From the previous row before, you're going to count over 1 half double crochet. We're going to do that again, just below, count over 1 half double crochet. One row below that, we're going to count over 2 half double crochets so that there's only 1 half double crochet in between these clusters. Then we will go up 1 and over for our 4th leg. Our 5th leg is going to be up 1. So let's work that out. Yarn over, the row below, 1 half double crochet over, pull up a loop, yarn over, the row below that, 1 half double crochet over, pull up a loop, yarn over, 1 row below that, 2 half double crochets over, pull up a loop. Now we're going to go up 1 and over for your 4th leg, and then your 5th leg is up 1. Pull up a loop and then pull through all 11 loops on your hook. Chain 1 to secure. So this is what your spike cluster should look like. Your first round 12 spike cluster. Your second one is going to look like this, but I'm going to go over it with you across. Now we're going to put 1 half double crochet into the same stitch our spike cluster, the last leg was worked, and then we're going to put 4 more, so we should have 5 half double crochets between our spikes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to do our second cluster, which is the same as this one we first started with. First leg just above our point, second leg just beside our point, third leg into the same space our last leg was worked, moving up 1 and over, so on this side there's still only 1 half double crochet left. 1, 2, yarn over, pull through all 11 loops, chain 1 to secure, 1 half double crochet into the same stitch our last spike was worked, and then 1 more half double crochet. That's your repeat from your front post double crochet to your last 2 half double crochets. Go ahead and work that all the way around, omitting your last spike cluster and 2 half double crochets, and I'll meet you back here. Alright, so round 13 is a pretty easy one. All we are going to do is chain 1, half double crochet into the first stitch and in every stitch around. If you are making an extra large size, you will be making 70 half double crochets. Otherwise, for a standard adult size, we're going to have 65 half double crochets. Here we are after round 13. This is what your work should look like so far. We have 1 row left to go for our last row of spike cluster stitches, and then we'll get started on our band. So to get started on round 14, we're going to start with a spike cluster stitch. Now, where we're putting our hook, the first leg is going to go right next to the cluster point from round 12. The next leg is going to go into the same space the last cluster point was worked into from round 12. Our third leg is going to go directly above the cluster from round 10. Our fourth leg is going to be right on top here, right on top of the first leg from round 12. Then we are going to go up one and over one. So it's going to be the space right before our cluster point from round 12. So let's do that. Let me show you. Yarn over, insert your hook from the next to the cluster, pull up a loop. Same space the leg was worked in, pull up a loop. Directly above the cluster point from round 10, pull up a loop. Directly above the cluster point, the first cluster point from round 12, and then right next to the first cluster point. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all loops, chain one to secure. Stretch this out so you guys can see it better. And that's what your last cluster should look like. Okay, in between your clusters, you're going to have 12 half double crochets. If you're working the extra large, you will have 13 half double crochets in between. Okay, this time our last leg is not into this row here. If it was, that's the one we're working into to get started with. Up one and over from your cluster point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So just like this is what your work should look like. You're going to repeat this 4 more times and you'll slip stitch to the top of your spike cluster. Meet me back and we'll get started on the band. Okay, here we are beginning round 15. This is the first round of our band. What we're going to do here is we're crocheting into the back bar of all of our half double crochets. Now, chain one, and when we crochet into the back bar and we come up to our cluster stitch, we're going to pick up this little loop closest to us. It's part of your cluster. That's the one we're going to pick up. Pick that up, oops, yarn over, then pick it up because we're putting half double crochet. And then you're going to place your stitch marker into that first stitch. This does not count as a stitch. The back bar, half double crochet, and continue. Now the back bar, where our braids are here, you turn your work slightly. This is the back bar. Okay, that's what we're working into. So you're going to half double crochet into the back bar of every stitch, and when you get to those cluster stitches, you're just going to pull up the smallest, closest loop to you. I'll meet you back at the stitch marker. Here we are at the end of round 15. You should have 65 half double crochets or 70 for an extra large. Now you can decrease in these rounds if your head is smaller, maybe if your yarn is a little bit fatter, you can decrease in any of these by just, putting 2 half double crochets together. So now getting started on our round 16, we are going to repeat round 15, but of course without that chain one. Okay, so go into the back of that stitch. I'm going to remove my stitch marker so I can get to the back of my stitch and go into the back of that stitch. And go ahead and replace your stitch marker. Okay, now we're going to go into the back bar of every stitch, just like in round 15. I will meet you back at the stitch marker. Here I am at the end of round 16. Round 17 is going to be just a tad different. Now we can take our stitch marker out and we don't need it anymore. We are going to place 1 half double crochet, and then we are going to front post double crochet around the cluster point from round 14. Make sure you pull that up to the height of your work. Okay, you'll skip the next stitch and then you'll continue your half double crochets into the back bar. 2, 3, 4, you'll have 12 for an adult or 13 for an extra large in between your front post half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, front post double crochet around the cluster, pulling up to the height of your work, skipping the next stitch, and then half double crocheting 12 more times. That's your repeat. Now, for rounds 18, 19, and 20, you're going to repeat round 15. So I'm going to let you finish out these repeats, and then you're just going to keep half double crocheting around for 3 more rounds, or to the length that you want your brim. You might want a couple more times if you like. And then the final round, I will meet you right back. We'll have 1 round left. Okay, I've stopped at the length that I want my brim, which is actually 1 row less. Now what I'm going to do, straight from my half double crochet, I'm going to single crochet into the back bar only. I'm going to single crochet all the way around until I reach my first stitch. And then I will slip stitch into the back bar twice, fasten off, weave in your ends, and you are all finished. Thank you so much everybody for watching Jolie Knots Crochet. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.